For the 6th time in its history, Canada is hosting the World Luge Championships. First time since 2013, and we're at the site of a memorable Olympics back in 2010. The world of luge has come back for the 53rd edition of the FIL Luge World Championships. Earlier tonight, it was run number 1 in the women's singles competition. Merle Fraebel sits in 3rd place. It's Julia Taubitz, a former world champion and the World Cup 30-time winner, in 2nd, but they're both chasing an American as Embyr-Lee Sweeney looks to become the 3rd American to ever capture gold at this, the largest event of a non-Olympic season. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. Look at the spectacular view of Blackcomb Mountain, Whistler Mountain, and the village of Whistler. It is just a wonderful spot. The tourism people have put on a great show, starting with the opening ceremonies 2 nights ago and through competitions yesterday and today. And speaking of those competitions, I'm pleased to introduce my co-commentator for tonight's coverage, a woman who already has stood on the podium twice so far this weekend at the World Luge Championships, Team Germany's Diana Eidberger. Diana, you're having a little fun this weekend, aren't you?
Yes, I have the whole week. I had a lot of fun because Whistler Sliding Center is pretty good prepared, and it's such a fun to be here and to compete with all the athletes.
Well, congratulations on your doubles world championship medals. If you haven't been paying attention over the years, Diana is also an Olympic medalist in singles luge from back in 2018. So now you're watching some of your former competitors take on a track that is certainly an interesting one. It's fast down at the bottom, probably a little slow at the top, Diana, which means you really can't make mistakes anywhere.
No, you need absolutely 2 perfect runs to find the speed and get the best time you could have. And so it seems like the 2nd run will be like a first run. We start from point 0 again because it's so tight.
Right.
And yes.
And we'll see those split times in a moment, but let's take a ride down this track and tell us, when you were sliding singles, what some of the tricky parts of this track were for you.
Yeah, of course. Now we're in curve 10. This is also a tricky part. Also the parts in the beginning of the track, because it's so flat and you need the best start time and also a perfect run to have the best time in the finish. You see it now. And in the bottom part, there's the high speed section, and everything could happen there. And also look at curve 16, the last corner. This is one of the hot spot of the races of the last 2 days.
A moment ago, you saw the track record flash up. That was set by Natalie Geisenberger, the Bavarian, back in 2018 at a time of 38.394 as she was getting ready to win her 2nd of 3 Olympic gold medals. 31 started earlier today in run number 1, and only the top 20 qualify here in the 2nd and final run, including Argentina's Veronica Ravenna. You have a trio of Canadians, also 3 Americans, 3 Germans, and 3 Austrians. So it's not a surprise who the powerful nations are in this sport, but a bit of a surprise there in number 17. One of the wonderful stories on this night, Embyr-Lee Susko, Canadian teenager, sitting just off of the podium for the moment. Embyr-Lee, a world career best, top 10, a 9th place finish in the World Cup, but this would by far exceed that. So as we get ready for run number 2, Diana, for all of those, from Embyr-Lee to the leader, Embyr-Lee Sweeney, to this woman, Veronica Ravenna, you've had an hour to think about it. Do you try to get where you are out of your mind, or do you concentrate on your position and what you need to do here in the 2nd run?
For me, it was the 2nd part you tell. I was telling me at the start, it's just a job. I have to make my job, and all the emotions calm down from this moment. But for Veronica, I think it's a dream to be part of the second run. Of course, it's her home track, and she wants to show what she can do here.
In fact, Veronica picked the right time to make it into a second run for the first time this season, something she failed to do throughout the World Cup. But here she is, run number 2. Veronica, born in Argentina, at the age of 6, moved to North America, settled here in Whistler, and here she is at her home track at the World Championships. World Championship Luge, just as is the case in the World Cup, it's 2 runs, a total time competition, so that clock you see in the bottom of your screen is extended from her first run time of 39.037.
This were personal best for her. Maybe she find more speed now in the second run. It could be that it's a little bit faster, and we see
right there her father, Jorge Ravenna, who runs this Argentina federation. And Veronica, she's really been plugging away for so many years. So if this in fact is a highlight for her career, she's done pretty well here tonight. Thumbs up from Dad. 39.04. And that's Patrick Leitner on the left, telling her of her finish time of a 39.4. As we turn our attention to our first of 4 Germans in tonight's top 20. Melina Fischer, ranked number 13 in the World Cup points. She's been very consistent this season. Diana, not spectacular, but all of her places have been between 8th and 15th. So that's a bit of good consistency for a young slider.
Yeah, of course, and she have to learn a lot more, but the journey has just begun, and you learn from the competitions you have, not just from the training runs.
In fact, one of her best early results was right here in Whistler at the Open of last year's World Cup season, where she had a 12th place result.
I hope for her she moved spots on. And show what she can do, because her first run was not the best, but now, it's a great time for her.
38.876 for run number 2. That is about a 1/10 of a second faster than her opening heat. That puts her well out in front of Veronica Ravenna.
Good start time also, 3:38, one of the best of the field.
Elina from Zwickau, which I believe is near Altenburg.
Yes. And she is in a relationship with Timon Grancagnolo.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see Timon tomorrow in the men's singles competition.
Yeah, happy little girl. It's so nice for her.
Getting ready, the first Austrian of this powerful nation. Austria so far this weekend has won 3 podiums. You may recall last year the World Championships were in Germany, and to a degree, Austria spoiled the German party with so many victories and a lot of podium positions. Things have come back to earth a little bit here. Barbara Allmaier, 21 years old, her second full season as part of this Austrian World Cup and World Championship team. And Diana, there's a race within the race. It's called the Under-23 Championship, and we have about 7 or 8 athletes vying for that future title. And Embyr-Lee Susko of Canada is the leader by far right now in that competition.
What do you think about over 30?
And over 30, a Masters division. I love it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
This would be great, yeah.
I would just barely qualify. Here we are with Barbara. She finds some speed at the very bottom of the track. She was in the red most of the way, but by 1/100th of a second, she holds on to her spot. No worse than the top 18 for Barbara Allmaier. Now we see this slow-mo replay a lot, the shield going down, but that's actually a very tense moment for all of the athletes, isn't it?
Yeah. The last time you breathe in and then you're just in your room.
That's right. That's a good way to put it.
Nobody can come in.
Many of the Austrians have had their family show up here this week.
Yeah, there are a lot of spectators from Europe.
It's great.
Perfect spot to make holidays and watch some special luge competitions.
17th after run number 1, the first of the Italians in tonight's run number 2 at the 53rd World Championships. Verena Hofer of Italy. She's 23 years old. She's originally from the town of Britcher. And most of the Italian team, though it's a very big country, most of them are all settled in a very small area in South Tyrol. And there's a great summer facility there where a lot of athletes spend time. Second fastest start time was a 3.409. Opening up a bit of a lead now on the Austrian.
Yeah, the Italian girls, they hang a little bit on in the season. Also in this World Championships, we have Melina now. And a little later, Sandra Robatscher.
Yeah, coming up in just a bit, her teammate Sandra Robatscher, as Barbara Allmaier's time in that leader box has come to an end. It's Italy out in front over Austria and Germany. These are three powerful nations in the sport, but all of their best athletes are still to come. Run number 2 already underway as we continue our coverage here at the 53rd FIL Luge World Championships from the Whistler Sliding Center. Here is one of the many Canadians to qualify here in run number 2. It's 21-year-old Trinity Ellis. Trinity originally from Vancouver, now makes her home nearby in Pemberton, BC. Of paddles, a quick settle. That's one thing about this track, Diana, is the settle happens pretty quickly. No room to do too many paddles.
Yeah, the most time the athletes do 3 or 4, but it depends on the starting area, and also if you want to lay back as fast as you can. And you have to try it.
Is it different preferences? We see Ellis, by the way, she's going to take over the lead here, and she does it by a pretty wide margin. So a nice job by the local athlete who's 1300s out in front of the Italian, in front of the cheering crowd of Canadian luge fans. Is it preference of what the style of a certain athlete on paddles, or does everyone adjust from one track to another? It's a different start pattern, say here versus Winterberg.
Yeah, it is, of course. You have the timeline, and if you put your hands into it, it starts earlier, of course, because there's something go through it. And in Winterberg, for example, I have to put my paddles 1 and 2 faster than the third.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, Trinity's soaking it in here. One Canadian in the lead. Here's another one getting ready at the top. Caitlin Nash, 15th place after run number 1, a 21-year-old, grew up right here in Whistler. A little trivia for all of you who have not watched much luge over the years. Maybe you don't even know this, Diana. What does the term luge mean?
Luge?
Yes, yeah. It's the French word for slant.
Ah. Yeah, de la Luge.
In German, we've heard Rodel and Schlitten.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this is this
sled,
luge,
English.
French for sled. 1,000th of a second right now, separating these two Canadians, Ellis and Caitlin Nash. Now she's fallen a little bit behind Trinity. So much can happen so quickly on this track, Diana.
Yeah.
So losing a bit of time to Ellis on the whole bottom part of the track, but still holding on to a top position right now. Canada 1 and 2 in the standings with their best yet to come as Embyr-Lee Susko is waiting at the top. She's in 4th place after run number 1. Well, they did what they needed to do, Diana, the Canadians. They had the pressure, but they had the support of their family. And no train wrecks, a lot of good runs.
Yeah. And of course, if you're miss some World Cups for training at the track where World Championships happen, but it's not the same if you have the competitions and compete to each other. You can train so many runs.
That's right.
Of course, to relax more.
For sure, to get to know familiarity.
At this day, you have to compete.
That's right. A lot more on the line on race day. Sandra Robatscher from Italy. She's 29 years old. She was originally from the city of Bolzano, but now lives in Tiers, which is a very small town. Less than 1,000 people in her hometown, about 15 kilometers east of Bolzano. Has a slight lead over Canada's Trinity Ellis, just 16,000ths of a second. Now she doubles that advantage from one interval to the next.
So in the green, just 100.
This is going to be very close, and she's just given it away with a rough exit of Thunderbird, corner number 16. Second place right now, but Sandra Robatscher sits in between the two Canadians. Trinity Ellis in 1st, Caitlin Nash currently 3rd. Sandra had the 6th fastest start time there. Handled most of these corners pretty well. Pictures are great at night.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't get a lot of nighttime sliding around the world. Sometimes in Lillehammer, sometimes in Park City, Utah, and here in Whistler, and I think that's it.
Hi, Mutti! Say hi to Mama.
Sandra done, and here is Hannah Prock. Hannah missed the entire season, and I mean every race up until this weekend. She injured her back during the preseason, and it was compounded when she visited a chiropractor who did more damage than good, unfortunately. But now the woman who finished in 5th at the Olympic Games is on course, her first race of the season. And she has an early lead over Canadian Trinity Ellis.
This is Hannah Prock straight into the green.
Hannah just celebrated her 25th birthday earlier this week. She's from the city of Innsbruck, not too far from that Austrian track, the 2-time Olympic track in the village of Eagles.
Maybe she finds some speed. We will see in the end.
3,000th of a second. So Trinity Ellis picks off another for Canada. She's moved from 16th place all the way into the top 13, and all Hannah can do is shake her head, but she's still a bit on the comeback, and it's not a bad showing after being so rusty and missing most of the season. You didn't see, saw a little skid there, right?
Yeah, just a little skid. Yeah, you see it here. Famous corner 50-50.
Exactly. Trinity Ellis of Team Canada leading the way here as the World Championships continue from Whistler, British Columbia. I'm Tim Singer, along with Olympic silver medalist Diana Eiteberger. And here is a 5-time winner on the World Cup. The USA's first of 3 here in run number 2, Summer Britcher. And a shout out we have on our chat window here. Summer's family watching live tonight from Glen Rock, Pennsylvania. Well, wasn't the straightest line on that outrun, was it? But still, the start time was decent, second fastest.
Yeah. Now everything have to be perfect if you want to have the whole speed and find the time in the track.
Summer now opening up her lead on Trinity Ellis. It was 1100s, now it's nearly 1300s, and the lines look beautiful at the moment. Not a perfect final exit of the curve. She had built up a lot of lead. She does a double fist pump, signifying she's already seen that #1 on the video screen. She takes over the lead. Summer Britcher, whose best world championship finish was way back in 2017 with a 4th place result in Innsbruck. Did I call that right, Diana? That start ramp, was she okay with that line?
I'm not sure if she was okay, but it's hard this week to have the perfect line because it's a little bit bumpy, and of course every time they put the water on, it's getting more worse.
That's right.
But for that, it's also nice to see that everyone has the same, yeah, the same.
Get ready to cheer on Embyr-Lee Sweeney, let's go!
So funny, she once did. Everyone cheers for Embyr-Lee Sweeney, but now I cheer for Anna Berreiter.
Indeed we do, and like Diana, Anna is an Olympic silver medalist at the Beijing Games. She's a very fast starter. She settles on this sled, and her start time is the 6th fastest, and just like that, she falls 7/1000ths of a second behind American Summer Britcher. But right back into the green.
My wishes for her is that she find the speed and let the sled fly and do what she loves.
What are her strengths from what you've seen over the year? What, is it the speed down below or the start or the whole package?
Yeah, she have to find the whole package again. But maybe we'll see it next year. It's hard for young girls to find out what happened, but every year start from
scratch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the 25-year-old, not only does she have an Olympic silver medalist, she also has a world championship on her resume. That was 2 years ago in Altenburg, or in Oberhof. Last year, the world championships were at Altenburg, and that was a disaster for Anna in 24th. So she's cleaned it up a little bit this week, but maybe top 12, top 11 is the best she can hope for. World Championship Luge continuing from the Whistler Sliding Center. And this was last year's world champion in women's singles. Lisa Schulte had never won a World Cup race before winning that world title. But she backed it up in an incredible way because she's been on the podium in basically every World Cup race since winning that title. She falls way back here in run number 1 in 10th place. So repeating as a world champion, Diana, that's a hard task.
Yes, it is. And of course, all the people expected after she wins so many, or she had so many podiums in a season, that she is also a good choice for being world champion again.
But this is a track that evens the playing field, and Lisa does not have a lot of runs here. As you see, she has trouble in the outrun, falling back 2 spots. So Summer Britcher moves up into the top 10. and a little bit of a letdown, I would say, for Lisa Schulte. And that's what happens. You still need to learn lessons on those tracks that you haven't been on.
There's also always a learning. So this is one question I ask myself when it is done, but it's never done. There's always a learning for everything, for every situation.
So Natalie and the Tobis and these athletes who have won 6 Olympic gold medals, they're still working to improve.
Yeah, specials.
No, that's.
But yes, it's also a tough and hard way for them.
Here in Whistler, Summer Britcher leading this World Championship race as we make our way down to the final 9 athletes, the 9 best in run number 1. And we have a pair of Latvians about to come up, starting with Elina Bota. Elina, a 3-time winner on the World Cup, including earlier this season on her home track in Sigulda. Bota, 24 years old. She considers Whistler one of her 4 favorite tracks in the world. We asked all of the athletes their favorite track. She couldn't come up with just one.
Maybe she got some special magic powder of her husband. He competed at a double seat. Yes,
1,000th of a second, the advantage of Elina Bota over American Summer Britcher, and maybe it was that magic powder, Diana, as Elina's newlywed husband, Martin Spots, earlier today captured World Championship silver in the men's doubles competition. She's a quick starter. In fact, she won the international start competition last year. Well, this was the speed we didn't see in run number 1. Her speed, 132.9 kilometers an hour. That's the fastest so far. As the cheers of Latvia ring out, it's Latvia out in front with Elina Bota, her teammate Kendija Aparjode getting ready now at the start. And Diana, moments ago I talked about speed. Elina, who has the lead, has not only the fastest time but the fastest speed so far. But that's not always the case in the sport of luge.
No.
It's not a speed trap. It's how you make it from top to bottom, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And this part of speed we see in each run for the athletes. It's just for one moment in this part of the track, but it doesn't. It's not.
It's not a definitive indication that you're necessarily going to win. Sometimes it works out that way. As Kendija Aparjode, a 2-time Olympian, losing all sorts of time, but finding it at the bottom. I've got to believe that Martin's Ravenna did something with these sleds in between runs, because it was on the lower half of the track that Kendija and Elina were losing time in run number 1. Or could it be the changing conditions of the evening?
Yeah, of course you can. This is one fact you can't handle, because outside, of course, it's just a temperature of -6 or -5 degrees. But what happens to the ice if the air comes on the ice could be that it feels like it's -14 or -15 degrees, because it's dark, and also the evening session.
Last exhale, and the shield going down for Switzerland's Natalie Maag. Switzerland, a one-person federation for the last many years, as Natalie has been going at it alone, funding her own national federation. But it's been fun to watch her progress, including a podium at last year's World Championship, second place in the sprint competition. And she comes off of a podium just 2 weeks ago on the World Cup in Oberhof, a bronze. Quickly in the lead ahead of Latvia.
She's a solid slider, had a great
Consistency,
yeah.
I laud you for your English attempts.
I'm sorry.
We totally appreciate it, Diana. Doing a great job.
And she do one run after another, which is nearly the same.
Consistency. Well, let's see here. She had a 38.636 here in run number 2. That was actually quite a bit faster. So if you're not going to be consistent, at least be a lot faster in run number 2, as she takes over a big lead over the Latvians with 6 remaining. Big crowd of Swiss fans on hand here. Natalie's brother used to be part of the World Cup, and her former teammate Martina Koka, you remember Martina when she won those 2 World Championship medals, that turned a lot of heads.
She was my roommate for a long time, and I learned a lot of her for the life of short, of course.
Switzerland out in front. Now we make our way to the final 6 here in search of a world championship. They're all within a 1/10 of a second of the lead. And here is the 4-time winner so far this year on the World Cup, Madeleine Egle. Madeleine has been arguably the best World Cup slider in women's luge over the last 4 or 5 years. But Diana, she is yet to really perform at the top level in the big events, the World Championships and the Olympics.
Yes.
1 bronze medal, 1 podium for Madeleine in the World Championships in women's singles.
But for the World Cup, she is one of the best.
She's leading the way in the points. Madeleine, 26 years old, from the Innsbruck area. Now 1/1000th of a second is the difference between Egle and Maag, and she gives it away down at the bottom. So what amounts to Madeleine's most disappointing result so far this season, unfortunately happens at the World Championships. She did have a crash as well in Sigulda, but everything else basically has been podium. It's tough to walk away, especially, Diana, on a day where her sister captured World Championship gold. Did you see anything that went wrong there?
No. Maybe it were a little bit scratching there, but for Natalie, it's absolutely perfect. She is so happy.
Well, one place at least, one place better than last year, but showing some class and sportsmanship, Madeleine Egle falling back 1 spot. Final adjustments. I wonder what country this woman's from based on her right cheek. This is American Ashley Farquharson, one of 3 Americans hoping to finish at these World Championships in the top 10. Ashley, 25 years old, originally from California, grew up in Utah, now lives in Lake Placid. She holds about a 3/100th of a second advantage over Maag entering the run. She's lost a little bit of that time.
Here goes
She's losing a little bit time, Natalie, it seems like Natalie had a perfect run. Now, changed.
Ashley's family has made the trip here from Utah. A little bit of a skid there. This is going to be very tight, Diana. How do you see it?
Now in the red.
Falling back by 4/1000ths of a second. So the celebration continues for Switzerland. As far as Ashley Farquharson goes, it will still be a top 6. Certainly one of her best World Championship results. But it's Switzerland leading over the USA and Austria, with Canada waiting at the top in hopes of the podium. We've seen a lot of this, Diana, where things looked pretty okay, but that one little skid here, and that didn't even look like much of a skid, did it?
Yeah, and we're here at one of the fastest track of the world.
Right.
And this track is so short. We were talking about a lot of few times this evening, and every little mistake and
will cost you.
Yeah.
It's Switzerland leading the way here at the Whistler Sliding Center, but Canada is looking to do something it hasn't done in nearly a decade, and that is put someone on the podium at the World Championships. That responsibility falls on the spike handles of Embyr-Lee Susko. Still a teenager, but Embyr-Lee has won national championships at every age group. She's had a top 10 on the World Cup. That was here on this track she knows so well. But Diana, this is an entirely different story if she were able to hold on to her spot here at the World Championship.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of pressure on these young athletes, and I hope that she used this chance to show the whole world what she can do at his home her home track. And yeah, absolutely, she's still in the green, and I think she make her history this evening.
This will be at least a top 4 for Canada. Will it be a podium? We'll find that out in the next few moments, but for now, revel in the celebration of a tremendous Canadian result at the Luge World Championships. What a wonderful story for an athlete who's really, it's so tough in North America to be so dedicated for so long, but she's been an enthusiastic competitor for many years.
Yeah, and she competes against world champions, Olympic athletes, and someone who high decorated in the sport, and
a very, very special moment for Team Canada. Well, one thing Embyr-Lee has yet to do is stand on the podium, and that will be determined over the next 3 sleds. We have 2 Germans and an American vying to hold their spots, and it begins with Merle Fraebel. Merle is one of the youngest of the Germans, but she has already put down a great resume, including podiums in each of her last 2 races over the last 2 seasons here at Whistler.
Let's see what we've got.
A big lead, Diana. That's a lot to give away. It's going to take a major mistake. She's losing a little bit of time.
yeah, now she have just to bring it in the finish, 600ths of a second.
If she holds
this could
on,
be tight.
it'll be very tight. 400ths of a second. So a first World Championship podium for Melina Fischer. Very exciting. As far as the Canadian Embyr-Lee Susko, she'll have to sit and wait to see if she can again sneak back on. But this is an emotional moment, Diana. You'll remember at her home track 2 years ago, she finished just off the podium,
yes,
and she was in tears. And now perhaps some tears of joy.
Yeah, of course. And also the story of yesterday when David Nösler misses the touch pad.
They were teammates in
yeah,
the
of
mixed
course.
singles.
She was crying, and I told her that this is a bad moment, but she have to put it in a box, throw it away, because today it's her day, and she can show everybody what she can do, and she did it.
Well, you're a good mentor.
Maybe,
a
yes.
good coach.
No, it's just the experience. I'm old enough for this.
Fraebel leading over Susko, Maag, and Farquharson, the top tills, 2 still to come. Well, without a doubt, one of the greatest athletes over the past 5 or 6 years in the sport of luge, Julia Taubitz, 28 years old, originally from Annenberg, now makes her home in Oberhof. She's won on the World Cup 30 times. 4 times she's been the season's champion, and she has a World Championship She's in search of her second. Diana, she needs to hold off her teammate Fraebel and then put the pressure on the American to follow. Let us know how she's doing. 1,000th of a second, the difference.
This is a hard task for her, but she's so professional and she knows this track so good.
This is where she usually finds her speed. 400ths, a little too close for comfort right now, but a terrific bottom part of the track. She doesn't pick up any time on the last few, but it will be another Worlds, another podium for smiling Julia as she continues her mastery of women's luge. Of course, Diana famously, the only thing separating her from full career greatness is one crash at the Olympics in Beijing. Save for that, she could have potentially won that race.
Yes, and maybe next year.
And maybe
because
next year.
she learned from every mistake she made. Yeah. But now I'm so excited now
For the next competitor.
Yes.
So here we go. It's Germany out in front. Julia Taubitz. She's won 5 podiums in her World Cup career, including a victory. The American at the top, 1 bronze medal at the World Championships, but looking to make history. And speaking of history, the USA has twice won World Championships. First in 1993, Wendell Suko. Then 16 years later, 2009, Erin Hamlin. Do the math. It is now 16 years after Hamlin's World Championship. Embyr-Lee Sweeney sliding for history for the USA and holding only a 7,000th of a second advantage to begin this run over Taubitz. Falling into the red, that's not a good sign, but like Julia, Diana, Emily's pretty fast down at the bottom. Let us know how you see it over these turns.
Yeah, in the first run she had a little mistake out of 16. This could be very emotional now.
She goes from 200s to 300s, now back to 200s. Could she run out of track? This is going to be very close. USA against Germany, and Embyr-Lee Sweeney does not fall off the podium, but she falls out of the lead as Germany takes the top 2 spots, followed by American Embyr-Lee Sweeney, and right behind her, Canada's Embyr-Lee Susko. Switzerland also in the top 5 in what was an exciting and Diana Eidberger very close race.
I can't find words. It's so emotional, also for Merle and of course for Julia. These two are cheering each other, and they are roommates in this week. And of course, this is one of the colorful medals of the weekend.
No doubt about it, as Germany has captured gold for the 3rd time this weekend. Emily gives the USA its 2nd podium, and it's Merle Fraebel in 2nd place in a little bit of disbelief as she picks off Embyr-Lee Sweeney by just 2,000ths of a second to capture silver.
I feel it.
And she actually has a pair of silver medals this year on the World
this
Cup
is
and World
also great.
Championships.
We are silverlings or siblings, silverlings from yesterday, and today we're siblings in bronze.
That's right. And maybe her fiance Dominic Fischnaller will end up on the podium tomorrow. Congratulations to Julia Taubitz. Germany taking gold and silver. The North Americans with a great showing with Embyr-Lee Susko in 4th, and then Sweeney, Farquharson, and Britcher all into the top 10. And our congratulations to the 3 Canadians who also made their way into run number 2, with a little asterisk to a 4th Canadian, Veronica Ravenna, in 20th place. Awards to be given out in a moment. Diana, I'm going to get your final words so you can go and prepare for your own award ceremony coming up in a little bit. What do you think heading into tomorrow's action? We've got the men's singles competition coming up. Max and the rest of the world trying to chase him?
I think Felix would be one of
those chasers.
Yes.
Okay, you heard it here first from Diana Eidberger. Diana, thank you so much, as always. So much fun to work with you, and congratulations on your 2 podiums this weekend.
Thank you so much.
That's Team Germany's Diana Eidberger as Einars Fogelis passes out the stuffed animals to today's World Championship podium finishers, Julia Taubitz, Merle Fraebel, and Embyr-Lee Sweeney. We will look in just a moment to get some interviews from all of the top athletes. For Julia, it never gets old. You win championships, you win World Cup races, but it's always exciting, and she has her sights set on Cortina 12 months from now. Standing by for the interviews for once in a rare moment. We don't have live German television happening at the moment because it's roughly 4 in the morning back in Oberhof. So we will hope to hear from our world champion in just a second here as Kate Hansen getting ready to talk to the athletes. As for the weekend so far for Germany, it's 3 gold, 2 silver, and 3 bronze. For Austria, 2 silvers and a bronze. Latvia with a silver, and now the USA with 2 podiums, a silver and a bronze. 3rd place to Embyr-Lee Sweeney, 2nd to Merle Fraebel as she makes it onto her first podium of her career, and Julia Taubitz pencils her name in as the favorite 12 months from now at the Olympic Games in Cortina. That's going to be interesting as well, because that's going to be a brand new track for everyone, Italy included. First up, let's hear from our 3rd place finisher from Team USA, Embyr-Lee Sweeney.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, obviously when you're in first after the first run, you want to see that one when you cross the finish line, but I'm really happy to walk away with a medal. Whistler has great memories for me here. This is where I had a medal my first race back after breaking my neck and my back, like from February to that first race of the season for me. So I have so many good memories here, and this is just adding to it.
Congratulations.
At the 2018 Winter Olympic Games in Korea. Well, we'll hope to get Merle Fraebel in a second, because as you see, she's made her way to her legions of fans and admirers, but a hug from her Thuringian teammate Max Langenhahn as Merle, she's got to be the most excited woman in Canada tonight. Well, we've got a moment, a great job by race director Zan Aycock and her team that have put on such a great show here. Let's hear from the winner now, down at the bottom, Julia Taubitz of Germany.
Julia Taubitz, our world champion. Last year you were 2nd, this year you're winning it. Tell me the feels right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling really excited, but I'm so sorry for Emily. I'm so sorry for the USA, but it's so tight here, and Emily has a really good run, and also Merle, and everyone from us can be at the top to the world champions. It's so tight here in Whistler, and you have perfect runs to be at the top, and so I think everybody from us is the world champion.
Well, you had the perfect runs. Congratulations, our current world champion.
A very classy and sporting comment from a clearly emotional Julia Taubitz. Her 2nd world championship. She came back from 7 thousandths of a second behind after run number 1. Just standing by to hear it from our third
Merle
podium finisher.
Fraebel with Team Deutschland. Congratulations, this is huge. Yesterday was a tough day. You didn't get to take your run, but today you're coming up with a medal. How do you feel?
I have no words. It's so... I can only say wow. My second run was not that good, so next time, Julia, I have to get better when I get my second run good. No, just kidding. I'm really happy. I'm really happy that I got my first podium here in my luge career. And now I stand here as a FIL World Champion.
Congratulations, you earned it.
Take that, so swapped out.
Confidence that Merle is already looking ahead to see what it will take to knock off Julia and make her way to the top of the podium. Well, an exciting race here to conclude day 2 at the 53rd World Luge Championships in Whistler, Canada. Germany takes gold and silver, the USA with the bronze, closely followed by Canada and Switzerland. We will be back for day number 3, the men's singles and team relay, to conclude this exciting festival of luge in Western Canada. Until then, for my broadcast partner Diana Eitberger and our entire FIL crew, I'm Tim Singer. Thanks so much for joining us.